Hey everyone, it's Candy. Welcome back. So today I'm going to share with you guys the books that I read in March. I actually read 10 books. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you some books that I'm definitely going to be reading in the month of April, just like real quick. So if you want to read any of the same books as me, you could do that if you'd like. And I also am making like a mental note, but I'm saying it out loud. I hate when I make these videos like this where I sit down at the end of the month and share with you what I've read, because to talk about a book that I read 30 days ago, it's just not as fun as where I've done it before, where I'll read a book or maybe two books and then I like talk about them right away and then just put all the clips together at the end of the month. And I just feel it makes for such a more fun to watch video because my thoughts about the book are more fresh. So I'm gonna try to do that for the month of April. I love reading in the spring, in the summer, sitting outside, fresh air, all that. At the same time, my life is kind of crazy right now because we're gonna be selling our house and moving and just a lot of stuff. Like, I have not read this whole entire past week. It was just a week that first of all, I've been sick. I still sound a little stuffy. And when nighttime comes and it's time to go to bed, I'm so like emotionally drained that I'm like, I just need mindless television. I can't focus on a book right now. But anyways, I have a stack of books here, and then I have some that I read on my Kindle as well, and let's just jump into it. So the first one is Ready or Not by Cara Stone. This book, oh my God, I was so sad when this was over. I gave it 5 stars. It was so good. This might have been my favorite book in the month of March. I just loved it so much. It's a story about a woman who gets pregnant from a one-night stand. There's other characters that you also really like create an attachment to. Her best friend, who actually has fertility issues. She has this guy friend who's just like the super sweet guy. And then the guy that she has the one night stand with, it's like she has to go through that journey of, am I going to tell him? Or is this my decision to make if I want to have the baby, keep the baby? Like it's just a lot of real life, raw, gritty emotions that I just was eating it up. And when it ended, I was like, no, what happens next? I want more. Like, I felt like almost like when you're watching a vlog channel and you want to keep up with that person's life. That's how I felt like with this book. Highly recommend this one. So next, I have my little notes here. This is like what I said. I feel like I need notes because I forget. Okay, Maybe Once, Maybe Twice by Allison Rose Greenberg. I got this book because it was recommended very highly by someone I follow on Instagram. She loved it so much, and she's such a tough rater of romance books. I feel like she rarely gives a romance book 5 out of 5, and she loved this so much. So I was like, okay, I need to get it. I actually took this with me to read on vacation in Cancun, which I usually fly through a book reading out at the pool or the beach. And I struggled. I didn't even read I barely read it all while I was on vacation. And I blame this book because it was just not good enough. I gave it 3.5 stars. And basically I wrote different timelines, different relationships. Ending was unexpected, but the characters were all a little flat. Didn't really feel drawn to any of them. Although I was very invested in the plot and I liked that there were short chapters, just overall didn't enjoy it. And sitting here saying those words, I honestly can barely even remember. I guess it's coming back to me, but I don't know. I wouldn't say don't pick this up. Next, if you didn't know, in one of my vlogs probably a month or so ago, I purchased every single book by Ellen Hildebrand that I did not have yet. I had quite a few. I just went on Pango. If you've never heard of Pango, it's a great place to buy secondhand books. And this one seemed to be one of the higher rated ones. A lot of different people's favorite. 4 stars. It's actually kind of a depressing book when you first start reading it. Well, it's not depressing right off the bat. It's depressing while you're going through the whole story, because it's kind of like one of those same time next year, like these two people, they meet and they have this connection unlike any other. So they make this promise to each other that every year, the same like holiday weekend, they're going to spend time together, but yet they go on with their separate lives. Broke my heart in a lot of ways, just because I feel like when you feel a certain way about someone, like to not be able to share how you feel for so many different reasons. I just can't imagine what that may feel like. Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. She's a thriller writer, and man, she writes some doozies. She's a great writer. She keeps you on the edge of your seat. Any book I've read of hers, I've absolutely loved it. I gave this one 4.5 stars. It does not come out until April 23rd of this month. So it's about these 3 young girls that were raised in foster care. And here it is like 20 years later. And they find bones buried underneath the house that they were raised in for foster care. So the police, detectives, and everybody wants to meet with these 3 girls to ask a bunch of questions, and just all these secrets are revealed, and it's just jaw-dropping. Like, you're just like a lot of WTF moments, like what is happening. It was really, really good, and I blew through it. In the very last page, I was like, what? I was blown away. I don't think I've ever had like a last chapter, maybe, but that last page of that book was insane. Next, I read Bye Bye Baby by Carol Lovering. She is the author of, I'm gonna have to look because my mind goes blank. Tell Me Lies, which is an amazing, well, semi-amazing book. I liked it a lot, but it was made into a series on Hulu with this gorgeous actress and actor who I think they're still dating in real life. If you haven't seen Tell Me Lies on Hulu, talk about jaw-dropping episodes. I was really excited then to pick up Bye Baby. Did I call it Bye Bye Baby the first time? Whatever. This was also very messed up. I gave this one 5 stars. This is probably my second favorite of the month of March that I read. I love this way more than even Tell Me Lies. So the craziness starts out immediately when 2 best friends experience the worst nightmare. Someone has stolen Cassie's baby, and her best friend Billy is the kidnapper. And that's not like giving anything away, because it's literally like, that's what the book is about. It's about why did she kidnap the baby, what their relationship is all about. Cassie, what really intrigues me with this story so much is Cassie is like an influencer, and her husband is loaded, so she lives this like super posh lifestyle. And just to see or hear like the behind the scenes of someone who, you know, oh, I'm having a party and I got to take pictures of the charcuterie boards for my Instagram, and I don't know, it just like really kind of, I could relate to it a little bit. After that, I read, Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. I gave this 4 stars. It was super cute. Basically, it starts out, I never remember characters' names, and I don't really think that's relevant anyways, but you have the girl, basically, she's about to get married, but she doesn't want to get married, so her friend hires this guy, Max, to basically stand up and object at her wedding. You know, when someone says like, does anyone have a reason to object? Why can't I think of the terminology? Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. I don't even know if they say that at weddings anymore, but in this book they do. So Max stands up at Sophie's wedding and objects. They end up forming a friendship, and they end up joining forces, and now it's Sophie and Max who are out objecting to other people's weddings and stopping other people's weddings. I would say the only reason why I gave this 4 stars instead of 5 is you don't ever really feel any emotional attachment to either one of the main characters. It's more just about what's happening instead of how either of the characters really feel about what's happening. They're both very like guarded individuals who don't wear their hearts on their sleeves, so to speak. And so because of that reason, like you don't ever really like feel anything for them. Like you're like, you don't really care what happens to either of them. You're reading the book basically because you want to see about all these weddings that they keep ending, if that makes sense. So I really liked it. It was a very unique concept. I thought the plot was great. Next up, I read If Something Happens to Me by Alex Finley. This particular book does not come out until May 28th, and it starts out at the very beginning that this guy and this girl, they're like younger, I believe, like going into college age. Do they steal the car? Let me read my notes. Hooks you right away. Ryan and Allison, who are saying goodbye to one another as they leave for college. Ryan is hit over the head, removed from the car, and wakes up to the car and Allison missing. There you go. See, I told you this is why I need to do these right away, because I forget stuff because I'm old. So 5 years later, the car is finally discovered in a lake with a note inside of it saying, "If something happens to me, ... the name of the book. From here, all the twists begin. Enter some additional points of view. There's different timelines, which really made the book hard to put down because you were like, wait, how does this connect to that? And why is this person being introduced? And I really like the other side characters, or maybe additional points of view. Is that what you could call it? Even more than Ryan, the main guy, who's like in law school. I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I ended up reading That One Night, which is by Emily Rath. It's only 124 pages. It's like a prequel to the book Pucking Around, which is 750 pages. So it's a hockey romance, but these are the stinking steamiest books I have ever read, like almost to the point of embarrassing. Like you wouldn't read the book out in public in case someone looks over your shoulder or is like, you know, like don't read it on an airplane, or do if you want, I don't know. So book 1, Rachel meets this hockey player and she has a one-night stand. They decide they're not going to tell each other their occupations. They're not going to tell each other their names, no private information, because it's just going to be the best night of their life that they spend together. They're never going to see each other again. Very quick, great short book. Book 2 then is Rachel is actually like a doctor. She has a medical degree. She's a doctor, but she's also like a physical therapist. So she's going to be the like team doctor / physical therapist for, guess what? A hockey team. So of course that dude from the first book is there, and all these relationships develop. And this book is a deep dive into the world of polyamorous relationships that I have never read about, know nothing about, and I'm just blown away by all the details of what I'm assuming is probably real life that goes on relationships. Anyways, I gave the first one 5 stars. The second one, I would have gave it a 5, but I gave it a 4 because I was just, the bedroom scenes were just a little over the top and repetitive. And don't get me wrong, I love like a good 50 Shades of Grey story, but this just felt a little too much. However, 4 stars is still really good. So if you like that, to read that kind of smut, as some people call it, you would probably like it. I forgot what I was looking at when I was on here. Okay, so if you scroll down and you look, it says romance, sports romance, reverse harem, romance, LGBT, contemporary romance, and adult. So those are the genres of these books, if that explains to you what kind of books they are. Moving on from that, the last book that I read that I actually just finished before I had my week-long hiatus of reading, Expiration Dates by Rebecca Searley. She's the author of In 5 Years, which was an incredible book. I loved In 5 Years so much. If you have not read it, I recommend that one highly. I gave it 4 stars. Oh, okay. This is about this girl, Daphne, and basically she gets a piece of paper anytime she meets a guy. Say she's like in a coffee shop and she meets a guy. Next thing you know, she'll walk out the coffee shop, she'll find a slip of paper, and it'll say the guy's name, Jonathan, and it'll say 6 months. That means that that relationship with that guy is only going to last 6 months. So she knows immediately when she meets a guy exactly how long the relationship is going to last. I feel like, you know, when you're out there dating, enjoying life, do you really want to know every guy you meet exactly how long it's going to last? I don't think so. Anyways, point being is the story was written very well. I liked the writing. I just didn't feel like it really ever went deep enough. There was a nice twist that was surprising. Gosh, was that like halfway through, or maybe 3/4 of the way through. Then I really liked the ending. That's why I gave it 4 stars. So those are the books I read real quick because I've been talking way too long. Some of the books that I plan on reading next month: Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. This was one of my book of the month selections for March. I plan on reading this one. Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. This is the dark romance that I'm talking about. H.D. Carlton is actually the author of the Haunting Adeline, the Cat and Mouse series, which I had started reading the first book and just couldn't get into it. And I had shared that. And so many of you were like, no, you have to keep reading. You have to go back. Maybe someday I will. This particular book, Does It Hurt, is actually free on Kindle Unlimited. If you want to read those types of books, they are very explicit and detailed, and this is dark romance, and I guess I'm a little naive. I don't know if I quite know what that means, so stay tuned for me to finish that book here in the next, well, I'll be sharing it in my April reviews. Some books that are coming out in April that I'm just dying for. April 2nd, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez comes out. I can guarantee I don't care what I'm doing that day. If I'm in the middle of reading another book, I will be starting to read that book that day. I'll probably go to Target and get it, or maybe I need to hop on now and just go ahead and order it from Amazon. She's by far one of my favorite authors. I read everything that she writes. Then we have Funny Story by Emily Henry, comes out April 23rd. So I'll definitely be reading that one. So if there are any other books that are coming out in April, or any that you've just read recently that you want to recommend, I absolutely love getting recommendations and reading books that you guys share with me. Feel free to drop those in the comments below. If you watched this whole video, you're amazing. I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And I'll be back in another month with April's books. Bye, guys.